Hello, and good morning. Welcome to this delayed weekly reading. My daughter was in a terrible accident on Sunday. Please send her lots of love for her healing and recovery as we were in the hospital. This is a delayed reading. And anyway, I debated, should I even do a reading? Should I? And when I've pulled these cards, I feel really grateful that I've done a reading for us this week because this is a reading I needed to see. So this week, without having, sorry, I know I sound a little bit tired and I am going to try and keep this brief, but not having reviewed the astrology just before the reading to confirm everything, as I like to do as part of my regular routine of these readings, I'm drawing from my memory, but as far as I know, we definitely have the new moon in Cancer later this week. And we also have, I think the new moon's on Saturday. And as far as I remember, we also have both the Pisces outer planets stationing retrograde, first Saturn and then Neptune. And this is a water new moon. So we've got a lot of watery energy this week. Remember, water is emotional stuff. So a little grounding, emotions, I've given us some hearts, a little grounding with this wand and bringing in the essential oil blend that doTERRA makes called Balance. And then pick a card between 1 and 3, 1 and 4, sorry. Remember that this is not a personal reading, but the card will give you a little more personalized spin. And if you're looking for personal readings, get in touch. Here we go. A king, so a court card, 2 major arcanas, and a swords card. And this one, the last card, is a more challenging card. We've had it before. I've written on it recently, unless that's a post that will be coming. I can't really think where I'm at the moment. But I love how we start this week with the new moon in, this is very much the archetypal Leo energy, and Leo is the archetype that follows Cancer. So we're in the Cancer season, and we're in having the sun's already in Cancer, the new moon is going to be in Cancer, and where we're starting to feel a lot of the Cancer stuff that maybe is feeling a little overwhelming, which is maybe that we are becoming, because archetypally Cancer is the mother, we can see sort of smother mother tendencies, doesn't matter your gender. We can see feeding the feelings, we can feel a little bit overly emotional and try to figure out how to numb that on some level. And then Cancer's followed by the archetypal fathering energy, one of the archetypal more father-like, playful, fun, gregarious type of energies, which is Leo, which has somewhat of a corrective quality to the Cancer. So for me, in some ways, this is saying, don't worry, you're meant to be in the thick of it right now, and it's maturing you to this more joyful, jovial, fiery kind of king. So don't worry, the water won't drown you. You just need to get through it. And I feel like holding that torch, hold the torch for the fact that soon enough this too shall pass, and you will find that sort of strength and dynamism and wisdom of the King of Wands. And he's within us already, obviously, all of these archetypal parts of ourselves. But I think sometimes when we're in the throes of big water, we almost feel like it's put out the fire. And this for me is a bit of a reminder to say, no, it's burning. It's just right now you have to have the feelings. And then what's so interesting on the back of that is that we have the 13 and the 14. So these are consecutive parts of that archetypal hero's journey. They're also beyond the point of the 10, the midway point. So that means this is like life is throwing the challenges at you to see if you've learned the lessons. And this one is the lessons of it's on the tip of my tongue, the Emperor card. The Death Rebirth is the lessons of the Emperor card, and the Emperor links very strongly to, it has a lot of similarities, but in a kind of bigger, more intense archetypal way than the King of Wands. So it's like, for me to tap into this deep power within me, I need to be able to know when to let go and when to let something new be birthed from me. And the Death card is obviously always a little bit like, oh, something's got to end. And I think we tend to, as humans, for most of us, we tend to cling to things rather than let them end, rather than let them die from physical death of people. Not that we have any control over that, but from the physical death of people, which we resist processing and accepting because of grief, and to the death of a project or a business or a job or a relationship or any number of things that we don't want to let go of. We need to recognize, and this isn't always called death rebirth, it's usually just called death, but I love this deck dubbing it death rebirth, because on the back of any death there is a rebirth. And that is, again, it's almost like hold the flame for that. Hold the flame for whatever is dying, something will be reborn. And then we move straight into the next section, because temperance is now, the next card is saying, well, okay, now something's died. Now I need to find a new balance. Now I need to reset. Now I need to meditate. I need time to process and all of that. And then that is teaching us the lessons of the Hierophant. And we can tell that because 1 + 4 is 5, and the Hierophant is the 5th card in the journey, and 1 + 3 is 4, and the Emperor is the 4th card of the journey, if you were interested in how I got there. And anyway, he is always depicted as kind of like this angelic energy. So really tapping into, again, what is the Hierophant? Hierophant links us to our learning how to connect to spirit. And here, this is an angel. This is taking us to the next level. This is a point of, let's do that in a big way. But life needs to throw something at us often to see if we did learn the lesson. Now you've had a difficult experience. How do you handle it? How do you respond to the things that show up in your world? And of course, nobody really wants big experiences. Having just gone through something horrendous, I can honestly say I would not ask for that again, but also trying to recognize, what am I learning in this process? How am I coping through this process? How would I perhaps have coped versus how I'm coping now? Try to find, give yourself that reflective time, and give yourself some credit when you recognize what you've learned, because these further on major arcana cards give you that opportunity to either, and be honest, like maybe, don't think I've learned anything. I did it exactly the same. And if you do what you did, you'll get what you got. But even recognizing that is a huge step. And then the 3 of Swords is also a intense card for us at the back of this really powerful archetypal energy. And that again for me is okay. And you've also got to process it. So we are in a watery time. We are needing 2 big planets turning retrograde in the sign of Pisces. We need to reflect. We need to feel all the feelings of it. And that is how we begin to process and sort. And the Swords is not actually an emotional it is an extremely emotional card, but it's not an emotional suit. It's a suit of our mind. It's a suit of our thoughts. So how do I allow the grief, the fear, the rage, the emotions? Often this is a heartbreak card. So whatever has broken my heart, how do I let those emotions through so that I can think about it in a more rational way? Because when we're so filled up with emotion, we can't think clearly. It's muddly. I think what I feel, and I feel what I think, and I'm so confused, and everything's blurry. And this is like, allow yourself in this big watery reflective time to grieve, to feel, to rage, to whatever you need to do in order to let it out of your body, because keeping it in your body is ultimately going to create dis-ease and crystallize the traumas, the grief, the loss, the whatever, because we know we've got death rebirth as well. So there is a shift this week that if we, and it could be, okay, like in my life, I can see a humongous thing that I can clearly work with, but it's not always that for everybody. Sometimes it's a lot of little things, or one thing that seems really little, but on reflection was a very pivotal turning point for you. So it doesn't all have to be a huge, tragic accident. It can literally be something that flips a switch in you and begins a turning point of seeing the world differently. And on that note, I've been doing some deep inner child work and healing, and so I'm going to give my little inner Cindy a little bit of credit as she pops in, and recognize her in this moment. Thank you for watching.